Hello again, beer fans. We're here with a review of Bud Select. This is the main purpose. But I felt like we couldn't review Bud Select in all of its glory unless we first also tasted at the same time Bud Light to get a sense of what is the difference between the two. So that is what we have here. We have Bud Light and we have Bud Select. And the question to answer if Bud Select has its place is, in what way, we're pouring Bud Light now, in what way is this different, Bud Select, different than its great, or not so great in my opinion, cousin, Bud Light? Unbelievable lack of head there from Bud Light. Of course, that's coming out of a bottle. We do have a confound here, at least as far as the head goes. But that was just, that's a very small head. And now for Bud Select, which I would imagine can't possibly have a head that small. Nothing could. So here we go. Bud Select. And you can see we've got a much more attractive looking beer here. Good mega foamy can. Much more carbonation coming out of the can. Again, this is confounded somewhat by the fact I bought it in a can as opposed to in a bottle. But the difference is actually fairly apparent. You note that the color is actually a little different. Let me bring this close to you. In the Budweiser is Bud, and the Genghis Grill is Bud Select. So notice immediately that you can see that it appears, and again these are different glasses, but it appears quite clear, Bud Select is a darker beer. In fact, a rather darker beer, and it's a much more carbonated beer. It looks like, although you can't really tell that, look over there and compare it to what you've been seeing from Bud Light. So let's have our first drink of Bud Select. Not bad. Bud Select was part of AB InBev's movement towards to get into the craft brewery industry, or at least the mid-range market. And those do taste different, although not substantially different. So Bud Select, very little aftertaste, quick drink. Get some malt and hop there, and then it's gone quick. Bud Light, more aftertaste. Feels like more foamy on my tongue. Feels quick taste, very quickly gone, but aftertaste hints at. Again, you can see we've still got a little bit of a head from the Bud Select, and you can still see. Let's switch sides here. Yeah, there's really, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't how close they were to the light that was causing the color difference. So this is Bud Select. Bud Select, no doubt, is darker. Bud Light, in contrast to Miller Lite, has less flavor. but probably not quite as wonderfully flavorless as Coors Light is. Bud Select doesn't fit into that. It's like the Bud Light enhanced that a little bit. You get a slightly interesting complex flavor there from Bud Select. It's very faint. It goes quickly. But for a second, there's something quality going on there. Before we're done, back to Bud Light. Definitely less hops going on there. I would say Bud Light is the least flavorful beer of the two. Although it doesn't necessarily feel more drinkable than Bud Select. Let's close this back down a little bit. There's Bud Select. Very refreshing drink there. There's a decent flavor in it back there. Although it's so faint and gone so quick you can't really place it. It's just like, it's not that bad. They've really... It's amazing how they've done that. Definitely more... If anything, it's Bud Light is a little more bitter than Bud Select. Not much, but just a little, and but it doesn't have kind of the nuances. I mean, you would never. Now again, you would never call Bud Light or Bud Select nuanced. They're dulled down macro stuff, designed to be enjoyed by people who don't necessarily like beer. But relatively, despite the fact Bud Light's more bitter, it seems like more is going on with Bud Select. So, having just consumed both for you, that's 28 ounces in 8 minutes, folks. I down those for you. And again, so you can tell both of them are easy to down. I'd say Bud Select's the better beer. Not by a whole lot. I don't know if it's better than Coors Light or Miller Lite, but it's a better tasting beer than Bud Light. If you had the choice, thinking they cost the same, I would get Bud Select. It's interesting that they didn't call it Bud Light Select. I guess they didn't want to risk damaging Bud Light or diluting the brand name of Bud Light, which is the most popular beer in America. So that makes sense. But if you're going to have Anheuser-Busch, you're going to have a light beer, I'd say make it Bud Select. It's just more beer. I mean, look at that. Look at the head. I mean, look at the difference on the glass streak. That looks like I just drank beer. I just drank something. So, mild recommendation again. I think, and since InBev bought it, in recent years, at least, I don't know if it started with InBev, but I think Anheuser-Busch or Budweiser has tried to make a few beers that kind of broke into that mid-price range, and I approve. I'm glad to have Anheuser-Busch trying to make tolerable beers for beer lovers. Not good beers, but tolerable beers. That's all I got.